Good afternoon and welcome to the 2022 Mayoral Service Recognition Ceremony, Building Together for Tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. My name is Aaron Miner, Deputy Chief Service Officer for National Service and Fiscal Operations at NYC Service, and I will be your MC for today's event. We are so excited to have all of you joining us. But before we get started, I'd like to share a few virtual housekeeping items for those of you joining us on the live YouTube event. First, this event will be recorded for our partners who are unable to attend. Second, to keep today's program interactive, we encourage you to participate by using the YouTube chat feature. Feel free to introduce yourself and the organization you represent or volunteer for. You can also share this event and your volunteer memories from the past year on social media by using the hashtag #BuildingTogetherForTomorrow and tag us at NYC Service. For more media sharing inspiration, our Mayoral Service Recognition Ceremony social media toolkit for use can be found on our website. Next, I would like to introduce all of you to our office, NYC Service. NYC Service is a division of the Mayor's Office focused on expanding civic engagement through volunteerism and service. As a sign of the city's appreciation for the dedicated volunteers who serve every corner of our 5 boroughs, we have made recognizing volunteer accomplishments a central part of our work, and thus have developed the Mayoral Service Recognition Ceremony, or what we are here for today. Each year, this ceremony honors community-based organizations, businesses, and residents for their measurable commitment to service across the city. Today's event is a tribute to the unity and determination of communities across our city. We come together to celebrate the hundreds of thousands of volunteers who have worked alongside their communities to help build a better tomorrow and to honor the exceptional volunteer initiative that have made a particular impact on the city's recovery in the past year. To kick off our program, it is my honor to introduce the city's Chief Service Officer, Laura Rogg. Laura, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and hello to our longtime partners and to those of you who are joining us for the first time. Thank you so much for attending the 2020 Mayoral Service Recognition. While we continue to be remote, the depth of your work and contributions to the city and the spirit of your service in this last year are still felt as if we're in person. This event also marks completing my first year as Chief Service Officer, and yesterday was actually my 7-year anniversary at NYC Service. And I felt the privilege each and every day of what that role means. Because your service today and in this last year means so much to our city. I've been able to see firsthand the power of our national service members working across the city to improve supports and increase access to resources, with our members impacting over 203,000 New Yorkers last year, and are on track to provide that same level of support this year. We've also seen local groups provide culturally responsive food access to our highest needs communities through our civic impact funding, with over 4,600 volunteers providing 1.6 million pounds of food to 200,000 residents during the pandemic. And in addition, our corporate partners provided support to 25 small business owners across the city, helping them think through the challenges that are brought on by running a small business during COVID. Over the last decade, we've worked with over 25 city agency partners to start and grow their own volunteer programs, and they've engaged nearly 60,000 volunteers in the city's greatest priorities. And lastly, we can't forget our youth and the 115 youth leadership councils that have engaged almost 800 high school students to inform policy and practice decisions across city government and in community groups, including supporting the expansion of councils to 87 NYPD precincts and PSAs to further authentic community engagement. Today, we reflect on the enormity of all of this work and on your volunteer labor. And today, we look at the work with different eyes and a more sophisticated understanding of the role that service plays in our city. We see that service has been a cornerstone of support during times of great need like this last year. and also that it will be fundamental to our success as we continue to move forward and build towards recovery. We serve because our work provides support here and now, and also builds a stronger, more just tomorrow for us all. It opens opportunity and gives agency to our greatest dreams of the way we want our city to be. And as we look at the opportunities the transition of a new administration brings, I'm filled with a huge sense of hope of what lies ahead. Our pledge at NYC Service is to work with you all to build together for tomorrow. And we are feeling the support of new leadership that recognizes the importance of building civic infrastructure to create a better city for us all. Your work and volunteering and service are at the forefront of this vision, and I'm thrilled for you all to hear from our new leaders. First, we are excited to introduce our keynote speaker, Mayor Eric Adams. Hello and welcome, Mayor Adams. We're so happy to have you with us. Hello, Mayor.
Oh, I got to get on this call. I'm sorry.
No worries. We know you're a very busy man, and we're so thrilled to have you with us here today.
But I really wanted to be here for the service recognition ceremony. It's really crucial during the times of COVID. I was the borough president when COVID hit our city, and it was just unbelievable when I watched the everyday employees, workers, first responders, and all those who came together to ensure that our city was able to continue to function. And today we're celebrating these acts of civic engagement and service. And it doesn't matter whether they were a big or small act, it meant a lot. It all came together. And the important thing that we must realize as we move forward is that we're going to need each other. And service is what makes New York City what it is and what it will continue to be. A city which people from all different walks of life look out for each other and take care of each other. And throughout the past 2 years, service has mattered more than ever. And we see that firsthand every day. It has made our community stronger, and played a vital role in helping our city respond to and recover from the pandemic. And I just want to thank all of you. I remember those beginning days of COVID. People were checking in their loved ones to hospitals, in some cases, never to see them again. The uncertainties of how this virus was going to impact us, and the volunteers and nonprofits and the agencies and businesses, we all came together. And no matter how difficult it was, it showed the resiliency of who we are as New Yorkers. We were the epicenter of this virus, like we were the epicenter of terrorism that hit our country. But just as then, we did so again. We responded and say, as New Yorkers, we are going to weather the challenges and difficulties of the moment. And so I wanted to take time out today, no matter what I was doing, if it was in a car or standing on a line somewhere on the subway system, I wanted to just pause and say to you, thank you. Thank you for what you have done. It's not going unnoticed. And together, we are able to move our city forward. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor. We know you have so many places to be and appreciate your time to really honor the work of our volunteers and our national service members this year. And so now I am also very excited to introduce our Deputy Mayor for Strategic Initiatives, Sheena Wright. Deputy Mayor Wright comes to us in the administration with deep work in New York City's city communities in her previous role as the United Way's first female president and CEO. And she also served as the mayor's transition chair, leading the engagement of over 600 stakeholders to help inform the administration's agenda. Deputy Mayor Wright, hello there, and welcome to the Mayoral Service Recognition.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for your leadership and your service to the city, and Aaron and the entire New York City service team for the incredible work that you do. I have to say, I feel so privileged to be a part of the administration. As you heard from the mayor, this is an administration that really has a culture of appreciation. And, he was moving around, but really wanted to make the time to say thank you. And when we reflect on this past year, to give service and to be of service and to volunteer in all of the incredible ways that you did was a risk. And you had to take time and energy away. You all were experiencing the pandemic just like everyone else. And you thought it not robbery to really lend your time and your talent to really help your fellow New Yorkers. And we are truly, truly grateful for that. And I just want to lift up a couple of great examples of service. And I think what it highlights is the diversity. There are many things that you can do to be of service, but I want to acknowledge Michelle Weston, who is a Civics Corp member at Make the Road, and the work that you did in really helping to run a critical food pantry. And we know that the emergency food system in the city of New York cannot exist and cannot function without volunteers. It is the bedrock of the workforce for the emergency food programs. So thank you so much for that. I also want to acknowledge UBS, one of our corporate partners that worked to volunteer to support our young people at the Borough of Manhattan Community College at BMCC. And the work that you did to help them hone their interview skills, their public speaking, their mock interviews, the kind of real jolts to their self-esteem and the encouragement and support that they received will really help them for the rest of their lives. The last thing I'll say is that when I think about service, whether you're volunteering as an Americorps member or you're just spending a day of time that you have, it's altruistic, it's all those things, but it's also empowering. And these kinds of ceremonies where we really lift you up and shine a light on all the great work that you do inspires others, because what you are demonstrating is that you have the power to make change, to contribute, to make a difference in your communities. And we are grateful for your courage, for your hard work, and really lifting you up in this way, hopefully shines a light and encourages others. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and very much looking forward to working with you on the road ahead to continue to build our city to where we know it can be and it needs to be, and we'll get it there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor Wright. It's such a pleasure to hear from you. And now, under our final speaker, somebody you'll all get to know very well in the coming weeks and months. I'm pleased to introduce Betsy McLean, our administration's new senior advisor tasked with standing up the city's new Office of Civic Engagement. Betsy comes with a long career in community development as the former executive director of Hester Street, and in her new role will work to further inclusive, accountable community engagement and collaboration between our city government and New York City communities. Betsy, welcome.
Hey, Laura, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. As Laura said, I'm kind of brand new to government after spending my career at nonprofits and community-based organizations. And I have to say, like, being able to work side by side with leaders like Deputy Mayor Wright, like the mayor, and then of course, Laura and her team really makes me feel like I'm exactly in the right place. Laura and her team were some of the first people I met when I came to the city in January. I walked away from those meetings really knowing that I'm in the right place, that I've been inspired by their commitment to equity, to justice, and belonging, and to getting there through participation, through inclusive participation, through service. I'm here today as a true believer in the power of service to bring us together, to innovate and create, to comfort and care, to awaken in all of us what Senator Warnock calls the spark of the divine. There's really nothing, and I mean, I know all of us who've had the experience of really working side by side with folks, kind of moving towards the same goal, whether that's at a Habitat for Humanity site, whether that's volunteering at a soup kitchen, whether that's in a community meeting as you're grappling with tough choices around neighborhood development. there's really nothing quite like that experience, kind of being side by side with your neighbors, sweating, laughing, trying to figure some stuff out, really making an effort, but all working towards the same goal. There's this kind of just deep, clear sense of purpose, of connection, of, we're in this together. I've got your back and I know you've got mine. I've had the brilliant experience of being able to work with, kind of as a teenager with Habitat for Humanity, which kind of sparked the service bug in me. And from there have gone on to build affordable housing and community centers in East New York. And then really to working with communities across the country, from Mott Haven in the South Bronx to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and to the Navajo Nation, to ensure that the people closest to our most persistent challenges, from fair housing and climate change to equitable economic development and racial justice, are the same people who are creating the solutions to those challenges. I just can't imagine our city without the community-based organizations that really are the lifeblood of our neighborhoods. The people that make up those those organizations, all of you here today, the staff, volunteers, Americorps members, you are exactly why we are here today. You're exactly why we got through the pandemic. You're exactly what makes New York great. For as many challenges as we need to overcome, and there are a lot of them, New Yorkers themselves will always be the solution. So I just want to kind of end quickly to talk about this. There's this Bantu term called Ubuntu, which if you are a Celtics fan, you're very familiar with. But essentially it means I am because we are. It looks like everything from keeping fresh, healthy food on our neighbors' tables, to mentoring justice-involved neighbors for future success, to participating in your kids' PTA or your local community board, to organizing to make sure that your neighbors are vaccinated and keeping our communities healthy. And so I really so appreciate the opportunity to thank you. Thank you for everything you do to strengthen our neighborhoods, to include those who have been excluded, and for being involved in shaping our city for the better. Together, we can make our city even greater. We can make it more inclusive, more accessible, more just, more equitable. And that's exactly what democracy looks like. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Betsy. And once again, thank you to Mayor Adams and Deputy Mayor Wright. We look forward to building collaborative partnerships with all of you over the next 4 years. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Erin.
Great. Thank you, Laura, and thank you to all of our speakers. Before we go on to presenting our Mayoral Service Recognition Awards, we'd like to share a video capturing a few ways New Yorkers connected with their communities to build a better tomorrow in this past year. And y'all, I get teared up every time I watch this video, so be forewarned. Though there are countless ways New Yorkers took action, we'd like to thank the volunteers, Americorps members, and community partners who shared their experiences with us.
One of my favorite quotes is, "To whom much is given, much is expected." Service for me is sort of what I think we're all put on this earth to do.
New York City is home to so many people who come from other places, and everybody has a chance to serve. Everybody in our city can do something from age 2 to 102. Our work is really, how do we bring people into city government and affect the policies and the practices that impact their lives every day.
I didn't find myself sort of prioritizing in my life until 2020, and I think everybody who was living in New York City just saw the complete surrealness of the devastation and the need that all of our neighbors had. And so it became something that I could really kind of find a way to fit into my everyday life.
There's a phrase in Judaism called tikkun olam, which means making the world a better place, and that is just something that I was really raised to believe in. I decided to join Americorps because I was really drawn to the projects that focus both on helping communities and improving the environment in New York City.
I grew up with single mother. We were always struggling, what to eat, and my mom was working really hard. So especially like seeing many Asian elders to receive the food distribution at 6th Street Community Center, that reminds me like my mom, my grandma, yeah.
I moved to Georgia and I lived in a shelter because my apartment caught on fire. So that's where I drew my strength to be part of the ESN network. If somebody could walk in my shoes to see how it felt and to see how you're treated, then they will have a whole different view of homelessness.
What service does for so many organizations across the city, it's a profound opportunity for people from all different walks of life to come together. The only thing that it takes to serve your community is to have a will to do something. Oftentimes people think it has to be this big, huge thing that you do or these huge projects, and it literally can be having concern for the person who lives next door to you.
The commitment is what you make of it. It's about you coming here and wanting to be there. If you want to come and you only have half an hour, we'll take that.
So today we're here with a bunch of our neighbors, and we're making sure that you know, all the communities around us are properly fed.
Today we're stocking some vegetable for the community fridge.
We are going to have the seniors start their yoga class in the morning, get them loosened up, get them feeling energized.
We're going uptown today, we're going to Harlem, and we're going to look for individuals who may need us a little helping hand.
Today we are weeding the gardens in Mullally Park so that the native plants that we have planted are able to bloom. A lot of kids in New York City and in the Bronx especially don't really get the chance to work in nature and in parks and really get their hands dirty. So then those kids will have that personal connection and have the motivation to keep those parks blooming.
The only hope for building, you know, a truly just future is behind getting everyone on board and getting everyone to understand that their own liberation is connected to each other's liberation.
Believe me, when you spend enough time with all of the people that we serve, you'll suddenly start to see the reward, the own internal fulfillment, and that half an hour quickly become 2, I promise you.
I'm just a small drop in the bucket, but if everybody would be a small drop to fill the bucket, we can make a definite impact.
I feel like it is an almost missing fulfillment of life if you haven't found a way to give back, even though it's a little bit, even if it's an ounce of what you have, giving that back to somebody else.
Service is the agency that we get to know that we can create change. So all of the ways that communities are coming together today, whether it's organizations or residents, are providing a better future for us tomorrow.
All right, didn't I tell you all that was an amazing video? I hope that you all are feeling inspired from that, because I gotta let you know we're just getting started this afternoon. Keep shouting things out in the chat too. We're reading all of those and loving what we're seeing and hearing from all of you. That video truly provides a glimpse into the stories of the thousands of people who fuel our city's diverse and powerful volunteer network. Next in our program, we will be presenting the third iteration of our annual Mayoral Service Recognition Stories. The Mayoral Service Recognition Awards highlight exceptional volunteer projects in New York City over the past year across 4 key categories. Before we announce the 2022 winners, let's take a moment to revisit and commemorate last year's honorees who were bold in their commitment to service while creating meaningful impacts in our communities. The Partnership Impact Award honoree, New York Common Food Pantry and New York City Football Club, for their innovative partnership, which provided more than 250,000 meals to individuals throughout the pandemic in the Bronx and Manhattan communities. The Community Impact Award honoree, Grills and Granola, for their Feel Better program, which made wellness more accessible to underrepresented communities of color. The Americorps Alum Impact Award honoree, Julia Chambers, for her work at Shower Power NYC, which provides essential hygiene products to people experiencing homelessness. And the Youth Impact Award honoree, Daisy Hampton, for her work in founding Including You, an organization that matches underserved students with resources ranging from peer mentorship and tutoring services to laptops and internet hotspots. Please join me in congratulating the work and achievements of last year's honorees by making some noise in the chat. Now we are going to turn to our 2022 award winners. Our 2022 award winners all participated in volunteer projects focused on COVID-19 relief and recovery. We are pleased to be joined today by some special guests to present this year's awards. Presenting the Partnership Impact Award, we have Arthi Gunasekharan, Programs and Policy Manager of the Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City.
Hello, my name is Arthi Gunasekharan, and I'm the Policy and Programs Manager at the Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City, where I oversee public-private partnerships that benefit the city of New York. I'm delighted to be here to present this year's Partnership Impact Award, an award that honors an innovative organization and business partnership that came together in service to a community. This year's awardees partnered to tackle food insecurity in communities across East Harlem and the South Bronx, an issue that has been exacerbated by the pandemic. One partner mobilized to set up regular food distributions to the other partner's school and youth development sites, ultimately getting 10,000 bags of fresh produce into the hands of students and families over the past 2 years. These distributions leverage the other partner's ability to expand its family engagement practices and overall pandemic relief efforts, including robust vaccine outreach and the distribution of 1,100 Chromebooks, 100 Wi-Fi hotspots, and $250,000 in direct financial assistance to families. It is my honor to present the 2022 Partnership Impact Award to S. Katzman Produce and Dream. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Stephanie Katzman, Executive Vice President and fourth generation in my family's business, S. Katzman Produce. I'm honored to accept this year's Partnership Impact Award alongside our partners at Dream. We got our start with Dream by donating a different item each week to their students. By introducing them to new, lesser known, or perfectly ripe and in-season produce at an early age, we're able to get kids excited about fruits and vegetables and instill these good eating habits early on. When the pandemic hit and students switched to remote learning, we saw that there became an even greater need. So we shifted our efforts and increased our weekly donations to a rotating menu of a variety of produce, enough for several meals for the entire family. We coordinated with a team of Dream volunteers to pack the produce into bags and send them home with the Dream families to ensure that they'd have access to steady supply of healthy fruits and vegetables. S. Katzman Produce and Dream have done so much together already, and I'm excited and confident that the best is still to come. We're looking forward to continuing to strengthen our partnership, especially with the upcoming opening of the new school at 20 Bruckner. Thank you to Mayor Eric Adams and Chief Service Officer Laura Rogg for this recognition, to our friends at Dream for your partnership, and congratulations to the other award recipients for the great work you're doing in the community. I'd now like to pass it over to my good friend, Rich Berlin, co-CEO of Dream.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Rich Berlin. I am the co-CEO of Dream, coming to you live from our headquarters in East Harlem. And on behalf of our entire organization, our families, our volunteers, our staff, our supporters, I'm so honored to accept this year's Partnership Impact Award alongside the extraordinary S. Katzman Produce. This award is a great reflection of all the work Stephanie Katzman and the Katzman team have done for our families throughout the very difficult last couple of years. As a longtime supporter of our work here at Dream, Stephanie had the original idea to partner with our organizations around food insecurity and food distributions in the earliest days of the pandemic, when so much felt scary and insecure for our families. And and knowing what could be seen, that so many of our families would be facing severe food insecurity as they lost jobs, as paychecks dried up, and as even going out of doors felt unsafe to them. She mobilized her Katzman team very quickly, and over the past 2 years, S. Katzman has supplied more than 10,000 bags of fresh fruit and produce for Dream families through food distributions. These bags were actually a week's worth of produce for our families, and every week for approximately 18 months, 300 plus families would show up on a Wednesday afternoon or a Tuesday morning to collect these. And obviously, these were both really critical physical sustenance, but also moral and emotional support. The partnership between Dream and S. Katzman has allowed us to increase our support and connection to our families and our commitment to health and wellness generally for our students, which is a pillar of Dream's whole child model. We are just so grateful to continue this partnership with Stephanie and the Katzman team. And we're really happy that this award can shine a light on all the work they're doing with so many communities in New York City. So a huge thank yous to the Mayor's Office, to NYC Service, and most of all, to Stephanie and Katzman Produce. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the Partnership Impact Award winners, S. Katzman Produce and Dream. Now, to present the Community Impact Award, we have Dr. Sarah Saeed, Chair and Executive Director of the Civic Engagement Commission.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sarah Saeed, the Chair and Executive Director of the New York City Civic Engagement Commission. I'm thrilled to be here today to present this year's Community Impact Award, an award that honors an organization that has leveraged the power of volunteers in innovative and resourceful ways to strategically address city and community needs. This year's awardee was exceptional in leading a COVID vaccine project that promoted equitable vaccine distribution, education, and outreach among the Staten Island North Shore community. With a particular focus on immigrant justice and advancement, this organization coordinated a restaurant worker vaccine campaign that resulted in 430 immigrant workers receiving their first dose of the vaccine in the spring of 2021. This year's awardee also put together vaccine campaigns to reach other vulnerable groups, including the homeless community. Over the course of last year, they successfully administered more than 5,000 free vaccines. With no insurance or ID requirements for the vaccine, this organization has minimized barriers to access and has offered a sense of ease, comfort, and convenience for people to protect themselves and the community. It is my honor to present the 2022 Community Impact Award to El Centro del Inmigrante. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Molina. I'm the Executive Director at El Centro del Inmigrante. Founded in 1997, El Centro is the oldest undocumented immigrant-led organization on Staten Island that is dedicated to the economic advancement and well-being of day laborers, low-wage immigrant workers, and their families until full civic participation is achieved by the undocumented immigrant community. Staten Island's new immigrant communities continue to face many COVID-related hurdles since our communities are mostly uninsured and have no documented immigration status. These barriers made it extremely difficult for them to get quality medical care and vaccinations at the early stages of the pandemic. Also, overcrowded and substandard housing, lack of medical insurance, and the ability to get timely and quality COVID treatment led to, unfortunately, many deaths of our community members. Today, we are proud to say that we have 74% vaccination in New York City as the rate among Hispanic, Latino ethnic population. And the Port Richmond, Staten Island area, which is where we distribute vaccines at our center, is at 78% fully vaccinated, with the highest rate of vaccination on the island. Our staff and volunteers, they put themselves and their families at risk in order to serve the community, assisting wherever the help was needed at emergency food pantry distribution, COVID testing, vaccination pop-ups, and any of the other emerging new services that we began as a result of COVID. And thanks to our staff and volunteers, and of course the partnerships that were created, we have been able to assist in the vaccination of over 5,000 community members. We thank our partners, the Office of the Staten Island Borough President, Dr. Mantello, the Health Director, Test and Trace team from Project Hospitality, our vaccine partners, Super Health Pharmacy, Annexia Pharmacy, and Beacon Christian Family Center. As we mark our 25 years of service to the immigrant community of Staten Island, we're deeply honored to receive this award in recognition of our efforts, and extremely grateful to our mayor, the Honorable Eric Adams, for acknowledging our work. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the Community Impact Award winner, El Centro del Inmigrante. Presenting the Americorps Alum Impact Award, and as an Americorps alum, I love this award. We have Kwame Francis, Executive Director of City Year, New York.
Hello, my name is Kwame Francis, and I'm the Executive Director for City Year, New York. I'm so honored to be here to present this year's Americorps Alum Impact Award, an award that honors an Americorps alum who has continued to embody the Americorps spirit of getting things done in New York City communities beyond their service year. This year's awardee is a former Americorps state and national member who has been exceptional in stepping up to combat the alarmingly high number of gender-based violence cases in her own South Queens community. While aware of the global reach of this injustice, she has leveraged her Americorps skills on a local level by partnering with her sister activists to found the South Queens Women's March. And over the past 2 years, this local nonprofit has evolved and expanded to address gender-based violence and other related inequities by coordinating and providing rapid response services, including culturally responsive food pantries and the distribution of essential goods, such as feminine hygiene products and masks. So it is my honor to present the 2022 Americorps Alum Impact Award to Nirmala Singh. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. My name is Nirmala Singh, and I'm a co-founder of South Queens Women's March. I'm truly honored and humbled to accept this year's Americorps Alum Impact Award. South Queens Women's March is a volunteer-led and intersectional organization working to foster women's empowerment by dismantling patriarchy and gender injustice hyperlocally. Starting with a founding team of 6 dedicated women leaders, we've grown to almost 100 active volunteers who power an unshakable movement. Despite being founded at the height of the pandemic, with the mission of curbing gender-based violence, we began to gather on our streets and meet our communities where there were. We quickly realized that there were a lot of inequities that tied into this issue, so we knew we needed an intersectional approach. We began organizing culturally responsive food pantries to curb food insecurity, distributed pads and tampons to combat period poverty, designed a plethora of workshops from a healthy relationship workshop series, job readiness, civic engagement, voter outreach, and more. As an Americorps alum, I was able to leverage all of the tools and skills from volunteer recruitment and management to knowing the importance of capacity building to ensure we can double the impact of services. New York City is one of the most beautiful and diverse cities in the world, but the need for resources to close the inequity gap, primarily around gender-based violence and food insecurity, is real. Organizations like South Queens Women's March and programs like NYC Service Americorps are essential to ensuring we have an equitable city for all New Yorkers.
Congratulations to the Americorps Alum Impact Award winner, Nirmala Singh. Presenting the Youth Impact Award, we have Michaela Cabral, a youth member in the NYC Service Youth Leadership Council.
Hello, I am Michaela Cabral, a youth member of the NYC Service Youth Leadership Council. I am excited to be here to present this year's Youth Impact Award, an award that honors an individual or group of youth that has gone above and beyond to create tangible impacts in their community. This year's awardees served as volunteers and outreach board chairs for the Youth Purple Fellowship, a leadership development program aimed deepening students' understanding of domestic abuse in the Jewish community. Pivoting to online programming due to the pandemic, these youth planned a Go Purple Day and organized a Purple Club at their respective high schools to promote domestic abuse awareness, resulting in over 150 students signing up and engaging in workshops and discussions on the issue and prevention efforts. Their work has helped break down the stigma surrounding this topic within the Jewish community and has provided critical education and support to young people, particularly those who might be at risk. It is my honor to present the 2022 Youth Impact Award to the Shalom Task Force Outreach Board. Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Sarit Katz, and I'm a chair on the Shalom Task Force Youth Outreach Board. On behalf of my co-chairs, Rafi Weil and Noya Shevchayevetz, and Shalom Task Force itself, I'm thrilled to accept this year's Mayoral Service Recognition Youth Impact Award. Thank you to Mayor Adams and to the New York City Service team for this great honor. Last year, my co-chairs and I participated in the Purple Fellowship, a program for high school juniors to learn leadership skills through the lens of domestic abuse prevention. Before I participated in the fellowship, I had no idea how many people were affected by domestic abuse and violence annually, both in New York City and around the country. The COVID-19 pandemic only intensified this issue. As Dr. Shauna Friedman, Executive Director of Shalom Task Force, put it, domestic abuse was a pandemic within the pandemic. Immediately after completing the Purple Fellowship program, my fellow chairs and I knew we had to do more, which is why we began the Purple Club. Our goal is to provide year-round grade-level education in each and every one of our New York City schools, to not only increase awareness, but to rid the taboo culture that comes along with domestic violence and abuse. Thanks to support from our schools, administration, and student body, we've been able to implement thorough outreach and education programs in New York City schools this year and hopefully for the continued future. Throughout the past year, myself and other members of the Outreach Board have dedicated an immense amount of time and effort towards educating other teens on the topic of domestic abuse and violence. Education is the first step towards prevention. Through events and social media campaigns, we've been able to reach thousands of students throughout New York City. Thank you to all those who have participated, educated, and encouraged myself and others to make change in our communities over these past 2 years. Special thanks to Fellowship Director Jeffrey Younger for leading all of us and constantly supporting our new ideas and endeavors, no matter how bold or infeasible they may sound. Many times people ask how they can volunteer and help with our work. The main thing that we can all do to prevent domestic abuse is to help spread awareness. Start a conversation with a friend about what you heard today. Share something to your social media. The more domestic abuse prevention or any issue are discussed, the closer we get to ensuring that every New Yorker knows that they are not alone and there's support out there. Thank you again.
Congratulations to the Youth Impact Award winner, Shalom Task Force Youth Outreach Board. And another round of applause, a virtual applause in the chat box for all of our 2022 Mayoral Service Recognition awardees. We would also like to thank our partners who either shared the application with their network, applied to the award program directly, or helped with the selection process for honorees. Thank you all. And now, as we begin to wrap up our event today, I'm going to toss it back to Chief Service Officer Laura Rogg. Laura?
Thank you so much, Aaron. And we just want to say, once again, we very much appreciate all of you who are here with us today, the work that you do to support our city and the partnerships that we'll continue to build for tomorrow. I also want to make sure that we thank our staff for all of their work and dedication. They are absolutely the backbone of our work here at NYC Service. So I'm just going to take a quick second to shout out all of our team, our national service team, Al Edward and Mona Abuzid, who work on our City Service Corps program, Melissa Gonzalez and Dan Graham, who represent Civic Corps, Dylan Poggi, our Vista leader, and our National Service Operations team made up of Zach Irvin, Alex Clemmer, and Chani Velasquez. And finally, on the National Service side, our Outreach Director, James Garcia. A few more people we'd like to thank on our community engagement side, Megan Solomon, who works with our nonprofit support, Jordan Williams and Maeve Ryan on our public-private partnerships team, and Rugi Ba, who is our digital engagement fellow and coordinator. And finally, I'm excited to just announce a couple updates to our leadership team that have happened since this event last year. So Aaron Miner, who is not only our esteemed MC today, he also became our Deputy Chief Service Officer for National Service and Fiscal Operations over the summer. And recently, we've shifted 2 staff into new roles. And so to congratulate Steph Halpin as our new Chief of Staff, and to Sean Morgan as our Senior Advisor for Strategic Partnerships. We have been absolutely gifted with an amazing team, and I hope that you will show them some love in the chat right now. And finally, on behalf of the NYC Service team, we look forward to serving with you in the coming year. A final thank you to you all, and now I'll turn it over to Aaron to close us out.
Thanks, Laura. And thank all of you again for attending today. Today's celebration doesn't need to end here. Keep sharing your volunteer and engagement stories all over the place, but especially on social media. And you can share those at NYC Service's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. Again, use the hashtag Building Together for Tomorrow and tag us at NYC Service. And if you felt inspired today, and we hope that you did, hearing all these great stories of volunteerism, and want to get involved with a local organization yourself, you can find one by visiting nyc.gov/service. Thank you all so much for joining us today and for your service to our city. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Take care, everybody.